Story 1. I used to be in a Bath and Body Works group on Facebook that was absolutely crazy. Many women in that group had candle rooms with hundreds or thousands of Bath and Body Works candles. Often, they had about 10 of the same scent just stacked up. Story 2. Rage bait cooking channels. So today, I am going to show you a simple meal hack to make for your children and husband. First, you want to take a 5-pound block of cheddar cheese and wrap it in bacon. We know it all gets thrown out at the end, and they know that we know. That is why they keep doing it. Story 3. I do not like videos where people say, "We are making crazy nachos," and they pour about 80 pounds of food on the table for 4 people, knowing it all goes in the trash. Story 4. There are too many videos. There are too many influencers. There are too many podcasts. There are too many opinion articles. There are too many newsletters. Most of it is just trying to get people to buy more products. Story 5. Come restock XYZ with me. You are about to see more plastic that will be in a landfill within a year than you have ever seen before. Story 6. Those aesthetic influencer videos where they have a million little samples of products and a bunch of disposable items. Restocking the guest bathroom with disposable tiny face sponges, mini hotel-sized product samples, dozens of tiny highlighters, and so on. Just get a normal-sized bottle of product and some reusable cloth face wipes. Story 7. Hauls or collections of the same article of clothing. Many young women are very focused on this trend right now, and it is largely due to social media and online personalities. I look forward to the end of influencer culture. Story 8. The disposable vapes. Not only are people throwing away the vapes, but there are literal batteries inside that they also discard. It is madness. The least they could do is keep them in a drawer and remind themselves to recycle them. They do not even pretend to care anymore. Story 9. The restock my fridge or makeup drawer videos where they show they have purchased countless individually wrapped items instead of just a big bag of items, like a box of individually wrapped apple slices or makeup remover pads. So much packaging waste. It depresses me. Story 10. The entire industrial world is designed to make you buy repeatedly. Things used to last. Anyone old enough to have seen the old pantyhose? My grandmother still had a pair from 20 years earlier when I was young. They never got a run. Story 11. Anything that you literally do not need more than one or a couple of. Stanley Cups, Squishmallows, etc. I bought a Stanley Cup, picked out a color I liked, and got one for hydrating at work. Just one. I know women who have one in every available color. Why? Story 12. Blind boxes. I am so tired of everything being a mystery. If I want a specific toy, key ring, or pin, just let me buy it. Story 13. Cosmetics. You do not need a 15-step night routine with 34 products, especially ones that contain a large number of single-use items like face masks. It is disgusting how normalized this has become. Story 14. Those girls on TikTok who have 50 Stanley Cups and pack them like they are heading off to invade Russia in the winter. Story 15. Since the 70s, your role in the Western world as a human has been to consume. Products used to be made to last, but now that makes it impossible to maintain and increase profits. Obsolescence is built in, and everything is offered in more varieties than anyone would ever need, so you feel you are expressing yourself with your consumption choices. It is no accident that the internet, a technology meant to unite us all, has been turned into a hyper-advanced advertising network designed to keep you believing you are expressing yourself by feeding back from an echo chamber of those who already agree with you. Every aspect of your physical and psychological needs has been examined, predicted, and catered to, ensuring that you keep believing the most important thing in the world is that you feel okay and like an individual. The problem with being an individual is that it is fine when things are going well, but when things go badly, you are ultimately alone. Deep down, we know this, so nobody feels okay. We know it is a lie, designed to keep us from realizing what we are capable of if we pull together as a civilization. It keeps us from giving ourselves up to some bigger purpose that might take power away from those who greedily cling to it. Story 16. 90% of children's toys are made of plastic. Children often play with them once, and the toys either break or the child moves on to something else. Story 17. Vaping sticks are being tossed. I see them all over the place. There is no deposit or pickup, but I feel like there is more value in them than a soda can. Aren't those batteries potential fire hazards? Story 18. Any sponsored event merchandise items such as marathons and conventions are usually useless waste that nobody asked for or needs. Story 19. The worst overconsumption trend I see is simply consumption for its own sake. Shopping as a pastime, a family, or social activity. I live in Nashville. We used to have a large music-oriented theme park called Opryland. There were all kinds of music, shows, rides, games, food, and more music and shows. It was beautifully landscaped and fun for everyone. People came from all over to visit. Then some accountants calculated they could make more money by removing all the entertainment and just selling goods. So they bulldozed that beautiful park and built a cheaply constructed, unattractive outlet mall in the middle of a vast parking lot, right next to the grand and glorious Opryland Hotel. People still come by the millions just to shop at that mall and stay at the elegant but overpriced hotel. Family fun and entertainment were wholly replaced by just buying things. I will never understand it. Story 20. Decanting items that are already in a container, such as pouring a gallon of milk into a glass bottle for appearance, is a waste. Story 21. My soon-to-be ex-mother-in-law just bought my 1-year-old a Stanley Cup for her birthday. Her first birthday. I want off this hyper-consumerism dystopian roller coaster. Story 22. Those people who have entire rooms filled with 5,000 different foundations, concealers, blushes, and more. Nobody could ever possibly use even a fraction of it before it expires. It also comes with the added challenge of how many women, and honestly even men in the beauty community, suffer from severe body dysmorphia. Story 23. We admire people who have hundreds of billions of dollars they will never spend while a third of the country is hungry and unhoused. Story 24. Fashion covers a broad range of topics, from people being encouraged to rotate their styles with the seasons to fast fashion brands like Shine, Temu, and H&M. Additionally, disposable vapes are a concern. They contain plastic and batteries. Story 25. Any collection hobby that simply requires you to shop online in order to engage in the hobby is not a true hobby. Buying collectible figurines or other items is not a hobby. It is a shopping addiction. Story 26. I work at a grocery store. The amount of food we throw away every night is heartbreaking. Story 27. I really dislike videos where people display fast fashion hauls. I saw one recently in which the person had bought 40 items from a fast fashion source, all cheaply made and basically worthless. The unboxing was done inside their walk-in wardrobe, which was already stuffed full of clothing. Story 28. Skincare routines. 95% of the products people use are doing literally nothing or are canceling each other out. I am so tired of seeing routines with multiple serums, toners, and moisturizers, 3 cleansers, and then finishing with facial mists. It is incredibly wasteful. The plastic packaging and the impacts from shipping these products all over the place are exhausting. Story 29. Investment capitalism punishes companies that make reliable, long-lasting products. Instant Pot is a good example. Story 30. Amazon, all of it. Fraud, waste, and abuse are so rampant it's unbelievable. I had no idea of the extent until I started selling on the platform. People seriously have no shame. It is insane. Story 31. Funko Pop figures are often considered unattractive and frequently do not resemble the characters they are meant to portray. The differences between them are so subtle that it is difficult to identify the character without the box or label. Is that Ron Swanson, Burt Reynolds, Pedro Pascal, or Freddie Mercury? Story 32. I warned her against overfeeding it, but my wife fed our pet mantis 3 crickets. It ate all of them and died from overconsumption. Story 33. Decorating the inside of your refrigerator. Nobody cares about your decorative basket full of half-empty sauces and condiments. Rhonda. Story 34. The trend of thin people eating excessive amounts of food is concerning. It is even worse because thin women who do this are praised as girlfriend goals, while overweight women who try often face criticism and abuse. Story 35. I hate to point out one of my own hobbies, but I have to. Diamond painting. It's fine to have a few kits on reserve that you really like and want to do. But then there are people who have over 200 kits from one or two specific companies. They joke about hiding their spending from their partners and further joke about divorcing their partners if they complain about the money and space taken up by diamond painting. For those not in the know, diamond painting is essentially paint by number or cross-stitch, which I also love, but with little acrylic or resin circles or squares cut to refract light, known as drills. The average kit contains your canvas, which is your sticky guide for where to place your drills, the drills needed to complete your piece, a plastic pen to hold and stick the drills to the canvas, a comfort grip, wax needed to pick up the drills, a small tray to hold your drills, and small bags for the excess drills at the very least. I enjoy this hobby a lot, but I can't deny there is a lot of unnecessary plastic involved. Many people buy because they have fear of missing out on designs, as reputable companies have limited runs to pay their artists. I dislike stash picture brags because it just screams unnecessary money spent on something they will likely never complete because they keep buying more. Story 36. This is nonsense. Grown adults are buying these useless toys for insane amounts of money simply because everyone else has one. I had a split-second urge to use my real money to buy one of these things the other day, and I had to go touch some grass. Story 37. An influencer I follow has at least 10 of these iPhone chains that look like bracelets. They are $100 each, so she has at least $1,000 worth. What are we even doing? Story 38. The fact that DoorDash and Uber Eats exist beyond special situations and business travelers who work on-site is notable. People pay almost as much for delivery as they do for their food, and they do it several times a week simply because they choose to. Story 39. Why is it necessary to have every single fruit available all year long? If it is not the season for it, then do not sell it. We had to get rid of plastic straws, but importing fruit from across the world is not harmful to the environment. Story 40. The late 20th and early 21st centuries. We are going to literally suffocate under piles of our own trash. Story 41. Go into any Walmart, Target, or Kohl's and know that 80% of that merchandise will end up at the bottom of the ocean. Sud. Story 42. Disney merchandise. 99% of it is poor quality, and no one needs a dozen ears. I hope my girlfriend never reads this. Story 43. There was a video I saw where someone showed their shower, and it was stocked wall to wall, floor to ceiling, with all kinds of scrubs and body washes. It is honestly a sickness at that point. Story 44. Normally, I don't care much about what people do or buy, but I saw the concept of a purse bowl the other day. A dedicated bowl to put the contents of your purse into when switching to another one. And that really surprised me. Story 45. Here in Japan, I dislike the trend of celebrating giant meal eating and overeating competitions, such as 4 kilograms of pork cutlet bowl in an hour, on television. Most of it gets consumed, but it is such an unreflective waste of food and calories. Food waste, in particular, bothers me. Story 46. I needlepoint as a hobby. Some people buy so many canvases that they will never stitch. It is not a cheap hobby either. Story 47. Bottled water is one of the biggest environmental disasters since the internal combustion engine. I find at least 10 bottles littered around every day. Buy a reusable bottle. Story 48. Stop buying cars. I say this every time one of these threads comes up. I have a Scion IQ. It is paid for long ago, and I take very good care of it. When it breaks, I have it fixed. It runs perfectly and drives perfectly. Here is why. Taking very good care of your old car and fixing everything that breaks is still about 1/20th of the cost of a new car payment in a year. My car has 170,000 miles and will last another 10 to 15 years. Story 49. American politics. I do not know anyone who is deeply involved and is not very depressed. Hyper-aggressive social media posts, yelling about what other people are doing, and starting unsolicited and uncomfortable conversations with others are common occurrences. Story 50. Stanleys and the small accessories people stack on them to turn them into a purse and use to pack items. Story 51. Those crazy everything shower and bathroom bodega people who have every cent of every product that 20 people could not use up before it expires. Story 52. Does anyone remember that program in the 1990s on Nickelodeon where kids were doing things like swimming in milk, rolling around in giant tortillas coated in salsa, or making balls out of bread and throwing them at a target? I never watched it, but I had a pen pal whose daughter was in the target audience. She banned it and knew she was not the only person who wrote to the channel to complain. Story 53. Not really a trend, but videos from Japanese and Korean corner stores have been very popular over the past couple of years, and it surprises me. Why is every single item individually wrapped in plastic? Story 54. Fabric softeners, fabric-scented beads, dryer sheets, and fabric-scented spray. We don't need all these smells. We only need clean clothes. Fabric softener was invented when people hung cotton to dry in the sun because it gets stiff in the sun. Today, most clothing is made of mixed fabrics and dried in dryers. You only really need a bit of static protection and occasionally a minimal amount of softener. Somehow, we went from using liquid fabric softener or dryer sheets to using liquid fabric softener plus dryer sheets, then to liquid fabric softener plus dryer sheets plus fabric-scented spray plus scented beads. Story 55. Vaporizers are harmful. Some of them have small games and play music. They are tiny gadgets wrapped in plastic that are discarded after a week. Story 56. Labubus. Actual adults are fighting over these bag charms. Plus, the prices become insane on the secondhand market, no thanks to resellers. I honestly do not get the appeal of them. People seem to be spending a lot of money just to get these. Blind boxes in general seem like a waste since it is a risky gamble, and if you do not get the design you want, you keep buying out of desperation. Story 57. Bottled water in countries where tap water is safe to drink. I cannot even contemplate the millions of tons of unnecessary plastic waste. Story 58. Color-coded or themed Christmas. The rules are that you take the same decorations out of the loft in November and put them back for the next year, with maybe 1 or 2 items added or retired each year. You do not get all new tinsel nonsense every year, then throw it in landfill at the end of Christmas. Story 59. Restocking channels involve transferring food or laundry items from their original packaging to glass or acrylic containers for aesthetic purposes instead of keeping them in the original packaging. Story 60. A girl in my college class bragged that she had over 300 pairs of shoes, all from inexpensive stores. Just junk. Story 61. Holiday-themed merchandise for every holiday and season. Looking at you, Target dollar spot. My anxiety spikes through the roof when I think about all of the waste. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.